There is no mountain that cannot be moved in his name. Jesus, there is no valley.
Welcome back to Wisdom and Life, and today we are doing part 2 of the remaining stages of grief in chronic illness. I hope you are working on your denial, and if you are watching this video and you have not subscribed, please do subscribe, share, like, comment, and press on the notification button so that you can be notified of any new video. Thank you. Stage of pleading, bargaining, and desperation. And here, this is where there is blame and there is guilt. When you start blaming yourself maybe for the things that you did not do, maybe you did not eat the correct diet, maybe you went for the checkup quite late, or maybe you start blaming the family that you come from, and ask God, why was I to be born in that family with such DNA? Because some diseases are familial, they are passed from one generation to the other through the DNA. So the blame part of it, you blame yourself, you blame others, you blame God, and you also begin being guilty of the things that maybe you should have done and you have not done. And I also want to tell you that you do not dwell in that stage. Do not dwell in that stage, because you are going to be discouraged. You are going to die pathetic if you are to die. Please don't blame yourself. And in the serenity prayer, the person who designed that prayer says that help me to accept the things that I cannot be able to change. If you're able to change it, change it. If you're not able to change it, please don't blame yourself, don't kill yourself for whatever has happened, for that diagnosis. Then number 3 in that stage is anger. And having worked in a hospital, some patients come and they are angry at everyone, they're shouting left, right, and center. They are, any small little thing will irritate them. It's not them, it is the process that they are going through. They are becoming angry because they can't imagine they're actually in that state. They become angry at self. Sometimes, as I've just said, when they're blaming themselves, they beat themselves so hard. Maybe it's because of this weight of mine. I should have worked on my weight. And you're so angry about yourself. Some of them will go even into starving, and they want to fight that part of them that did not do justice to themselves. Then they will also start, they can get angry at people, and they can also get angry at God. The questions of why me, why me, why me? And I'll also just tell you again, who should be having that diagnosis? Can you point out, if God was to tell you, give me one person in your family that you needed them to get this cancer of the breast, this hypertension, this diabetes, this leukemia, will you be able to give one person in your family? So please don't be harsh on yourself, don't be harsh on people, don't be harsh on God. It is just a process which, of course, now there sets in anxiety and depression. And this anxiety may be as a result of the changes that may have to occur. Maybe the diet, the different diet that you may need to change. Maybe the many trips that you have to make to the hospital. Maybe the financial drainage that you're just about to face. All these things will bring anxiety. Then also the condition itself. You're asking yourself, how is it going to be? Am I going to be well? Am I going to die? If I'm going to die, how are my children going to survive? They are so young. So there's anxiety, and when it is left to the extreme, it is not dealt with, then now depression will set in. So as I've already said, your mental strength is very important at this particular point. Your mental strength, your emotional strength, your spiritual strength is needed at this point in time. I would rather die while fighting than live in pity, die in pity, and who knows, you may even go to hell because you've held so much against other people, you've held so much against God. When the Bible says that forgive as you have been forgiven, so why are you holding someone else in your heart? And in John chapter 16 verse 33, when Jesus is talking to his disciples, he's telling them that I am telling you these things so that you may have peace. You may have peace. Because Jesus knew and he said that in this world you will have many tribulations. But it tells you to be of great cheer, to be of good cheer, because he has overcome the world. That is the confidence. And at this point, I just want to say that I am glad that I am born again. I am glad that this condition found me when I was spiritually strong. And I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you, if I was not in that position of listening to God, in that position of knowing the scriptures, in that position of just speaking positive about the situation, then I think I'll be dead by now. And not because of the disease. It could be because of the mental perception of the entire thing. And as I've mentioned before, that cancer in itself is very horrendous. It's a monstrous affair. Chemotherapy is a monstrous affair. I cannot equate that experience to any experience I've ever had in life. So, anxiety will be there, but don't allow yourself to go to the depression end. And if you're not born again, I think it will also be a good point to invite you to just give your life to Jesus. At that point when there's confusion, you don't know where you are going next, you don't know what to say next, I think just being in the hands of God is safer than all the turmoil, all the things that we take as options. Just being in the hands of God is not as a desperation measure, but just as a safety or a place of safety, I would say. The fifth part of this process, loss of self and confusion. And when we're talking about loss of self, you know, sickness comes with a lot of changes in life, and sometimes there is this aspect of withdrawing identity from our jobs, we draw our identity from looks, we draw our identity from things. But now, remember, you are unwell, especially with cancer. If your identity is drawn from how you look like, this is the time you will lose self, because now you lose some weight, you lose your hair, you look funny. So if your identity was in how you looked like, then your self-esteem is just going to go low. You're going to lose self, you're going to lose the person you are or the person you are. If it was in things, remember, I have also said that cancer is very expensive. Sometimes you spend to the last coin and you need people to come through for you and just assist you. Sometimes you may need to sell a few of your properties for you to get the finances that you need. If you had a car, now you don't have one. If you had a house, maybe you don't have one. If you had a piece of land, maybe now you don't have one. And you know that can be depressing. If that is where you are founding your joy, that is where you are founding your identity, it is lost. You lose self and you become so confused. If your confidence was in a job, sometimes being away from work for a long time, you may lose that job. So, what I'm trying to say is that things may change around you. Things may really change, and you will, if you're not in that position of being strong, you may be discouraged and you may give up so easily. So the sixth part of this whole grief and loss process, Jennifer calls it re-evaluation. And in this re-evaluation, you need now, because now things have changed. I've talked about a job, I've talked about your looks, I've talked about the things that you own. And now, because you may have one or two things out of those that you were giving you identity that have been lost. So what you need to do at this particular moment, do a re-evaluation. In this re-evaluation of life, you look at things like roles and goals. So if you are maybe an employee somewhere, re-evaluate and see, am I going to stand? Or if I lose this job, what else am I going to fall to? If maybe there are roles in the house or in the family that you're not able to perform, like maybe the normal house chores, you used to do them so perfectly. Like myself, I was active, up and about, I was able to cook, I was able to clean my own clothes, I was able to do utensils. And now, because now of the weakness during chemotherapy, and now the neuropathy, even after the surgery, my arm, I can't be able to do a few of those things. So how do you readjust, reevaluate and see how can these things be done, and also I can still get satisfaction? Because there are some people who, if they have not done something, they may not be able to appreciate the other person who is doing that. So reevaluate. If there are any life goals that you have set for yourself, maybe it was a financial goal, and now remember you are sick and you need those finances. You have to withdraw maybe from that fixed bank account. So how do you readjust? Can you postpone and say, I'll be able to do this activity once I am back on my feet? Like for me, I had already taken a master's class. And in this master's class, I was already done with the coursework. But now, was I able now to do my thesis when I am unwell, when mentally I'm not stable, when emotionally I am not stable? So in my re-evaluation, I did the university an email and told them I want to defer. I want to do thesis at a later date when I'm able to. Those are some of the readjustments we are talking about. So just see what is it that you can be able to readjust. The last part of this, process, Jennifer says, is acceptance. Both Ross Kubler and Jennifer agrees that the last stage is acceptance. And between denial and acceptance, I won't lie to you that you will not relapse into anger, bargaining, depression and anxiety. Back and forth. Usually there's a back and forth until finally you reach a point of acceptance and telling yourself, okay, there's not so much I can be able to do about this thing. There's not so much I can be able to do about this illness. But how do I go from here? How do I move forward without stagnating? That is the point of acceptance, and it will save you a great deal. And I think in this video, this is the third time I am saying that you will rather die while fighting. You would rather die while fighting. You would rather die while trying. You would rather die. And as a soldier, please, soldier on. Soldier on, keep moving. So thank you for listening to me in this video. I hope to catch you in the next video. Please subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you're able to get our videos as we continue. God bless you.
Zangu, 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 Zangu ni Shukrani.